Hi everyone, welcome to this Google Digital Garage training session, particularly on getting started with analytics. My name is Benedict. I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. Just a bit about myself, I am an experienced coding specialist and digital skills trainer, as well as having a background in the digital creative industry, and I've worked in this sector for over 20 years. I would also like to introduce our amazing moderator, Mohammed. Mohammed is also a Google Digital Garage coach and will be interacting with you and answering just about all of your questions via the instant chat to the right there. You can identify the moderator by his name, Mohammed, as well as a little blue spanner next to his name. Now, just before we start, I just wanted to call out a few things to help you today. Firstly, if you are having any trouble viewing the webinar right now, please do try refreshing your page. If you would like to join the instant chat, you do need a YouTube account, which you can very easily set up by clicking on the box on the right there. We will be pausing throughout the session to answer some of the questions that Mohammed will kindly pass on to me. So please do feel free to fire away with a question throughout. And just to let you know, we are running this Google Digital Garage virtual training as part of a broader offering of courses. If you'd like to check out the schedule of upcoming webinar training, please see information on this in the description below, which links you through to our website. So that's the housekeeping done. Let us now get started on answering questions with data. And let me just ask you, please, what would be really nice is if you could introduce yourselves and everything, which particular country you are actually signing on from. I see, welcome, Diwash, from Nepal. Excellent. So just tell us where you're signing on from and everything and your name, and then I'll go through those as well. Okay. So first of all, there's going to be three areas we're going to be covering this. So, of course, understanding, of course, the really important questions to ask about your online activity, understanding how we can actually make sense of online data to address these questions. Because as you know, there's data analysts, there's people specially trained. So there's ways of learning, and we're going to assist you with this to actually interpret some of this information. Also, the third one is understanding how to use analytics data, which I was kind of covering the last one too, to understand what it tells us about our business particularly. So what are the right questions to ask? What are you actually trying to achieve? What questions do you need to actually answer to help you achieve your goal? And which reports can actually help you find the answers that you really need? So what are your next steps as a result? Some of those different areas. I just want to welcome Luke from the UK. Welcome. And Olive from the UK. And Ruben from Albania. And Altonical from Egypt. Excellent. It's great to have all of you here. So welcome to all of you. It's great to have you from all different parts of the world. It's wonderful. So just a couple of things. Now, there is an opportunity here. Now, the opportunity, excellent. The watch from Nepal, I've mentioned already. And also Chantal from South Africa. Welcome. I'm actually from there. I was born and grew up there. So Altonical, welcome to Alan Mohammed. And then I think it's Sharma from Bangladesh. Excellent. And Maximus, welcome. Okay, so I'll try not to get me distracted too much with that. So welcome to all of you. Okay, just there's an opportunity here, but I'm afraid at the moment it's only in the UK. We're hoping eventually this will expand to all different parts of the world. But the point is, if you are part of a small business or charity in the United Kingdom, you can actually sign up for a free one-to-one mentoring session from Google. So you could be speaking to one of us. Now, like I said, these sessions are completely free. You can have as many as you like and can help you, on a one-to-one basis on a range of digital skills where you may need support, from building a strategy to finding more customers online, all sorts of different things, whatever it might be. But I'm afraid at the moment it's only in the UK. Obviously, we hope that this will eventually expand. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Mohammed's giving you the link there for booking for a one-to-one session. Okay, let us now get started with asking the right questions. And okay, so let us begin. All right. So we're going to look through this very carefully. Now, we often use frameworks to help us understand the process of all these different things. Now, we're going to introduce an overarching 4-step framework at getting the answers from the information, from the data. So getting the right answers, of course, involves asking the right questions, which is very, very important. And this overarching framework for today's data session will help you, point you in the right direction. It's a framework for thinking about the types of goals or objectives you should be setting to measure the success of your business online. So what is my objective? Okay, let's go through each of these in turn. So your first step, what is my objective? First, we actually need to define what your objectives are. Okay, very, very important. To give you some ideas here, of course, there are many, many things you can track and measure using data from the internet. As you probably know, data analytics is quite overwhelming because it gives you so much information. The important thing is that you're looking for the right things, okay? Because whilst it's very nice to get masses of information, it can be quite overwhelming. So a reasonable question is, what is important to track and what is not? So what to include and what not to include at this particular stage of your business and how the growth it's going through. Excuse me. Now, your online objectives should tie into what your business is trying to achieve. So we cover defining your online objective, in our digital marketing strategy session. So don't miss out on that. That's digital marketing strategy. So if you'd like to, learn more about it, check out the schedule and the description, when you actually find it and what time it is, and then you can book for the different sessions. Okay, so great opportunity. Just as something to help you when you are booking the different sessions, if it's 45 minutes or 15 minutes, it's more the up-to-date version sometimes. And if it's an hour long, it's a little bit an older one. And there's no differentiation between them, but just to give you an idea. Also, I will be talking about a particular kind of Google Analytics, but I'll be talking about the other kind as well. I'll be talking about 2 kinds, but that's to help you and assist you. All right. So next one here. So what questions do I need to address? In other words, to get the right information, the right data, you've got to frame the questions correctly so that you get the correct information. Now, there's types of questions to ask about your business. All right. So here again is another framework to assist you and help you. It's called REAN, R-E-A-N. And the point is it shows the process and the part of the funnel that you are at with your company. So, who's my target audience and how do I reach them online? That's with reach. Then engage. Are they finding what they need? What are they doing when they get to your website? Activation. So are they actually booking? And nurture. Are they coming back for more? So, these are the questions, we are interested in answering to determine how engaged an online user is with our business and what particular stage. Of course, you will be centering on a particular stage depending on the process of your company. Now, we're going to walk through some of the reports that relate to each section soon, okay, to really help you. So, yes, this framework, of course, makes us think about the stages of a company's relationship or engagement with a customer, as I was saying, and it really brings them to your website through various methods such as paid search, organic search, social media, and offline promotional activity. But when they actually arrive, the big thing with the engagement, what do they actually do? And then after that, of course, do they buy it? And once they've bought it, do they come back for more? So to recap, so you've got reach. How did my customers get to my site? Engage. What do they look at and engage with? Activate. Did any of your customers actually complete an action I wanted them to? Now, it's not always sales. It could be downloading a PDF or something like that, if it's a charity, for example. But the point is they're engaging with something, which is very, very important. And then nurture. How can I get my customers to come back again? All right. So let's just have a look at this one here now. So first of all, okay, we're going to use Pauline to help illustrate these answers. Okay, for each answer, so the particular thing here we've got here, how are people finding me online particularly? And what are my target customers searching for? So the point is, how are they actually finding, what particular keywords are they putting in to find you, which is very, very important. So that's the reach questions, which we're covering soon. Then the engage questions, what are people actually engaging with when they find me online? I know I'm kind of recapping again what we've covered slightly already. And which of my online communicators are people engaging with most? And then activate, which channels are driving bookings particularly, and who is my customer? That's a big thing. You've always got to know who your clients are, and it's so important to be able to work that out. Okay, and then of course there's nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online, and do my customers buy from me again? Okay. All right, giving you a chance now. As I said, great opportunity for asking any questions. So any questions on this first section, fire away. Mohammed will pass them across to me that he hasn't already answered already. Okay. Okay. So any questions, fire away, and Mohammed will pass them across to me. I can move on anyway to the next section, but I can keep an eye on the questions if any do come up. Okay. So that's the first section anyway, on the kind of things that you're searching for, what you need digitally, particularly, those kind of things. Okay. I'll move on for now, but I'll keep my eye on the questions that come up. Let's have a look now at which tools to use to really help you to get the answers to our Rian questions. Okay, so where do I get this information from, which is so important? So we're going to look at some various tools, such as, of course, Google Analytics, which we're particularly centering on today. There's also, of course, Google AdWords, Search Console, Google Search Console, and social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter that actually do provide some of the information, what we need to answer the crucial business questions we went through before. Okay, so the tools that we can use. All right, so of course, as you know, there's social media. Now, social media is very popular. There's different forms of social media. Of course, there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all sorts of different kinds. And it's very important that you are somewhere in social media, that people can find you there. You can also use a tool, which is quite useful, called Hootsuite, for example, which actually pulls together your social analytics across different platforms. And you can also check your performance in paid search platforms, like Google Ads, for example, and organic search, like Google Search Console and Google Business Profile. Now, the thing about Google Search Console, as soon as your website appears on the internet, Google detects it. And what you're really going through when you register with Google Search Console, you're saying that is my website. And of course, Google Search Console is totally free, but you're saying this is mine. And what will happen is if there's any issues with the pages or anything, they'll send it across to you. Now, we're going to have a look a little bit more in detail at these different packages. So, and of course, the big thing is you can track every click made on your own website using Google Analytics. So this can be really useful. Let's look at it a bit closer. So social media page insights. Now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, or for example, offer page insights. All of them have some form of analytics. Sometimes it's called insights, sometimes just done as analytics. Now, it's a super handy tool if you have a Facebook page set up for your business. And the big thing is sometimes if it is particularly on the particular social media that you get the most answers in and everything, and people asking questions. The big thing is as often the more personal element of your business, especially if you're running a big corporation and everything, it gives that opportunity for people to ask questions directly to you and get answers. So it's a free tool on all business pages. You can measure all on-page activity, and you can get information about page fans as well. Okay, so that's social media, which is very useful. Obviously, you've got to find out which social media works the best. And of course, you can do that through Google Analytics, finding out how people found the website and from where they came particularly. Okay. All right, let's have a look at Google Search Console. Now, it is a free product, as I said before. Website owners use to understand how their website is ranking in organic search, which is very important, can help you a lot. If there's any problems with indexes of the different pages, they will inform you. The other side is things like if your images are not optimized for the web, in other words, they're going to take a long time to load, then of course it will inform you. And then of course there's different ways of using reducing the size, using something like Canva or something like that to reduce the size. Then the other thing is it could be something like there's no alternate text. Now, if you think about someone who has difficulty with their sight or is blind, they will get their computer to read what's on the screen. And of course, computer can't read an image. So they need alternate text to read to explain what that image is. And actually, it's not only for people who have problems with their sight, it's actually also search engines will always refer to it as well. So that's Google Search Console, just as an example, just two examples that they might come up with, some problems. And there's another one called Page Speed Insights as well. You can use that as well, just for immediate information. Now, Google Search Console as well does give you some feedback, which is quite useful. It tells you what particular keywords people enter to find your website. So it does integrate with Google Analytics, to help, they all should work together. If there's any problems, obviously make sure they're working in sync. And then if we have a look at Google Business Profile, now, of course, the great thing about Google Business Profile, it puts you on the map. Because, certainly on Google Map, it puts you on that map so people can find you. And you must have seen it before. You're looking for, I don't know, pizza, whatever it might be. And you can click on that particular Google Business Profile and you can find the opening hours, when they're closing, all that kind of stuff. Make sure that you keep everything up to date. Do check out Get Your Business Visible on Google is a session we have, talk again, it's a free webinar we have. So do attend that to find out a little bit more. Now, Google Business Profile, of course, has its own insights as well that show you how well your business listing performs, and do people find you on a map, then click on all directions or give you a call. So all of these things are really helpful to help you gauge and track your prospective clients as much as possible. Okay, so then we're on to Google Analytics. Now, of course, you sign up for free. It's the most popular website analytics tool. You can monitor every click on your site. It almost gives you too much information, but it gives you a lot of information. Now, we'll take a closer look at Google Analytics after I've answered a few more questions of all of you. Let me just see if there are any questions. My goodness, I seem to be going quite fast at the moment, but maybe it's because in the next section, I will be covering quite a lot. So do fire away with any questions you might have. We're here to help and assist. So any questions on that first section, which I seem to have finished really quickly, but on the first and the second section. So particularly on those kind of areas, so Google Search Console, social media, any questions on that, please do fire away. I'll keep an eye on this. So the big thing is, of course, there's many different tools. And obviously, these tools are for free. So it's very, very useful. Certainly, Dewash, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm doing my best. I see you've asked to elaborate on organic search. Certainly when you enter in what you're searching for in the search query at the top, in any search engine. So you'd put in what you're looking for. Then you will see the response from Google. Now, directly underneath the search query box, you will see there are some ads. Now, those, of course, are Google ads, which are appearing just underneath. And it'll say ad on the left-hand side, and it'll give a little bit of information of what this, it'll be part of an ad, part of a Google ad. But if you look further down where it doesn't say ad or anything like that, that is then the organic search. And it's organic search because Google will work it out according to its algorithm, looking through all the different websites, working out the ranking and which comes first, second, third, fourth. That is actually the organic search. Now, Dewash, certainly a lot of people want to improve their search engine optimization. And of course, search engine optimization is to come higher up, rank higher in the organic search. Now, do you remember Google Search Console? I said it does give you the ranking in the organic search. So that will give you give you information on how you're ranking and how you're doing. Now, one of the most difficult things with a website is to get high enough ranking, especially when you're new, getting yourself out there, getting better known, Google getting gradually to know you more. But the point is, it can be very hard to get onto the front page, which is, the top 10, as it were. And not of course, pop songs here, but of course, in this context. But the difficulty is trying to get into that, onto that front page. Now, there are different ways of doing this. One which is free is Google Business Profile. If yours is the only one in the business, and of course, normally the GPS is on and they can work out where the person is. And if yours is the only business which provides that, we had one which was did hot air balloons, and there was the only one in the area. So, it depends how many people are in the area. I have had an animation company for a long time. I'm now mainly just composer for films. So I used to, when I used to search in my area in the UK, I was amazed at the number of animation companies were in my area. But of course, what happens then, if there's a lot of different people in that same area, it'll appear in the form of a map with little droppers as well. As you can click on any of those, you can find out about those particular companies. And there's a list on the left-hand side as well. So you're still getting on the front page, still. Not quite as clearly, but still on the front page. So that's one way of getting on the front page. The other way is if you're going to use Google Ads. Now, that's another way, but of course, there you've got to pay. So Google Ads is, I suppose, another way you can get right at the top, but it can take time to and of course costs money to do that. So always to try and improve your organic search. And of course, one of the things is you've got to make sure that you are search engine friendly, as we call it. Search engine friendly. In other words, the search engine can easily know quite a lot about your website, know where to put you and all that kind of side. The other side is there are different ways. Now, the interesting thing, when people do ask us about search engine optimization, we want to improve our search engine optimization, it can seem a little bit like we're avoiding the topic. Of course, we're not avoiding the topic. What's actually happening is we're talking about all the different things to help your search engine optimization. In the old days, you used to have a lot of that particular keyword and keep repeating it. Gone are those days. Now, of course, there's, so long as you appear in many different places, if you're referred to as well, if you've got different, you appear on different social media, for example, and people can read about it. And then or if you've got different blogs, for example, they might be looking for that particular material, which is related to, then they could read it and they're immediately on your website. So there's many different ways to help. And of course, if you've got a blog, it means your website is more active, therefore, slightly higher ranking as well. So there's many different things to take into context. But I hope that answers your question, Dewash. I certainly take my time with that one because I've still got another 17 minutes to actually really finish off on that one. So you're right with that, Dewash. I hope that that kind of explains a little bit better. All the different areas. It is a very wide field. And of course, as you know, all search engines have an algorithm. Now, I'm afraid, I'm very sorry, this is not a talk where I tell you Google's algorithm. It keeps changing and updating, and it's very complicated. But the point is that is how they work out your organic search. And it's down as organic search because it's worked out according to search engines. It's not according to how much you've bid on certain keywords, for example, like you have with Google Ads, for example. Okay, so any further questions? That was a great question, Dewash. We managed to elaborate quite a bit, so I could cover all of that. Okay, unless I see another question, you're very welcome. Very welcome, Dewash. Very welcome. So let's have a look at this now. So this is what we're here for. We're here to help you. And the more we can, that's what we love. We love to help you as much as possible. So do fire away with any further, obviously it's got to be related to this, but, we'd love to help you and assist you as much as we can. So using the data from Google Analytics. Okay, so now we know what we want to ask. We know where the data is. Now, how do we put the two together? Now, we're going to use Google Analytics as an example, but remember to use whichever tool is right for your business, okay? Don't forget, of course, Google Analytics is free. It gives you a lot of information, so try it out at least. Okay, so now we're going across to the fourth question here. What do I do with that information? Now, a lot of companies, of course, we do mentoring, and there's a lot of companies, small to medium size, I've spoken to, and I've said, okay, so do you have Google Analytics? And some of them go, yes, I got Google Analytics. Okay, great. So when did you last see it? Oh, last week. Excellent. Okay, so what did you see? Oh, it looked good. Looked really good. Okay, excellent. So what did you learn from that you were able to gauge how your campaign is doing, for example? That you say running a campaign, and often people do go, ooh, I don't know, because of course there's a lot of information. There's almost too much information, but it's kind of trying to work out what you need. This is a big thing, to work together with your. I don't know if you've ever heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely. Is to fit in with those particular goals of your business, particularly. So it all fits in place. Okay, now there is Google Analytics dashboard. All right, so when you first open up Google Analytics, it can be very overwhelming. There's so much information, but in this section, I'm going to show you where to locate the information to answer some of those business questions. Now, analytics has its own language, so if you don't understand any of the terms, then, this is when you're using Google Analytics, hover on the question mark beside them for an explanation, and then I'll explain as best I can, okay? Now, for instance, you may see the number of visits is different than visitors between one visitor can come back for multiple visits. Okay, often it's down as sessions, certainly with Google Analytics version 3. So the big thing is discovering who are your users by geographic location, for example. Discover how you acquire them, what keywords, what the direct link, that kind of thing, visits, and when they visit. Okay, now how to set up Google Analytics account. Now, before we get started on this, I'm going to ask you, Mohammed, can you provide them with a link, please, for Google Analytics Academy? Now, Google Analytics Academy is free training. There is beginners, intermediate, and advanced. And you do get a certificate for it, which is kind of nice. Now, the big thing with this is there are at present 2 different types of Google Analytics, version 3 and version 4. Now, if you signed up since 2020 with Google Analytics, you will be automatically onto Google Analytics version 4, okay? If you have Google Analytics already, I'm going to ask you, please, open it up as a new tab. Not too distracting for what I'm saying, but open it as a new tab. Type in analytics.google.com. That'll open it up. Once you're there, click on sometimes it's called cog, sometimes called gear, bottom left. Click on that. That'll take you into admin. Now, when you're in admin, I'm going to ask you how many columns you see in front of you. Now, the reason I'm asking you that question is, if you see 3 columns in front of you, you are in Google Analytics version 3. If you see 2 columns in front of you, you are in Google Analytics version 4. Okay, so that's another way to double check what version you're using. Now, what's quite important is we're going to talk largely about Google Analytics version 3 in this talk. If you want to know a little bit more about Google Analytics version 4, don't miss our talk, which is 45 minutes. There we particularly center on Google Analytics version 4, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong. Of course, Google Analytics 3, compared to Google Analytics 4, is just a different version. Obviously, Google Analytics 4 is a more advanced version. And there's quite a few different changes that are happening as well. Now, that link I gave you, which was good, well, thank you very much. I meant Mohammed gave you, which is Google Analytics Academy. If you do the course which is there, that is for Google Analytics version 3. If you've discovered you're actually in Google Analytics version 4, you will see at the top there is a link to free training, shop link. I think I can't remember now. I can't remember offhand what service it is, but you click on that, you go through, and you've got training for Google Analytics version 4. Okay. Now, some of you might have got really used to Google Analytics 3, and I completely understand that. And if you still want to sort of get to know Google Analytics 3 really well before moving on, that's fair enough. But don't forget that about June of this year, in fact, you've probably seen some of the signs already, a lot is going to be changing across eventually till everything's on Google Analytics version 4, just to let you know. Okay. All right. Having said all of that, I'm going to tell you both sides of the coin to a certain extent. I'm going to tell you a little bit on Google Analytics 3 and a little bit of Google Analytics 4 each time. That's why I've left half an hour for this particular part of the talk, okay? So, so setting up a Google Analytics account, if you don't already have a Google Analytics account, you can always find that out very easily. Type in analytics.google.com. Like most of Google's websites, you got the name of the app dot and then google.com. So in this case, it's analytics.google.com. So you can go there. And then, of course, you go through the process. You can set it up. I know you go through the whole process over here. Choose a name for your account and everything, go through the whole thing. And of course, they will be asking as well, asking about the industry category to help you when you actually benchmark against others who have tagged the same industry, for example, consumer electronics or marketing, whatever it might be. Some of your companies might find it a little bit difficult to work out what category you fit into because there aren't every single kind that exists. So you might have to work out where you fit in with that. I know with Mayan animation, it was a little bit more complicated and difficult. Now, just remember, please, that it's an anonymous but an aggregate level to give you an idea of what your bounce rate is against others, for example. Always the information, of course, is kept anonymous other than things like what country, whereabouts. Obviously, it won't trace to the person at all. Don't forget that sometimes people will choose not to, for ones like Google Analytics, to get any information from, in which case, of course, they can't do much with that, and they'll give you that feedback. All right, so that's when you set it up. Now, generally speaking, it's going to be the same. You'll set it up. And actually, it won't be very much the whereas Google Analytics 3, Google Analytics 4. Now, if you're doing it now, as of 2020, it'll automatically be Google Analytics 4. If you're not sure, do check it out. 2 columns, and the admin is actually Google Analytics 4. The other side is you can actually set up Google Analytics 3 once you've, well, in the past, if you set it up a bit of time ago. And then you can set up Google Analytics 4 at the same time. There are videos you can check out how to set up both. And then you can start to compare, the different ones and everything. One of the disadvantages at the moment with Google Analytics 4, if you move across everything, lock, stock, and barrel, and close the other one, is it won't keep your history. Your history will be more across with Google Analytics 3. Okay. Good. I think I'm spending a good amount of time on these important questions. So now, your tracking code, in this case, allows you to track your site's performance. Now, this is for Google Analytics version 3. So what happens is, of course, you go to admin. You remember I said the cog or the wheel or gear or what do you want to call it, bottom left. That will put you into admin. You look for tracking info. In fact, let me just one moment. Let me just put it across so you can see just the screen. There we go. So you can see a little bit closer. Get myself off so you can see, and gives you an idea of where it is. You can see their tracking. Okay. I just put myself back on. So you get tracking info. Then you go for tracking code. And then, of course, that code, this is where you used to do it. You won't be doing this at all. So this is the way we used to do it for Google Analytics version 3. And the code you will put in the header of each of the different pages. Now, if you're registering now, you will be automatically on Google Analytics version 4, okay? And what will happen will be slightly different. You'll go to admin, okay? You have two columns. You go to the property column, and there you will see data streams. I know most people say data streams. I prefer data, so it's data streams. So you go to data streams, you find your website there listed, you click on your website, and then it'll actually give you the top right, you'll see measurement ID. Because of course, tracking has got a bad name for itself by now. So tracking, anything to do with tracking is not great, not very PC. And whilst this is just to help you so that Google can track it on your website to get information for you, we now call it measurement ID because it just sounds more appropriate, because you are measuring the number of people in different countries, and a lot of information to help you in that way. So now it's called, so it's data streams, measurement ID. All right. You put that measurement ID into the header of each of the different pages, okay? Very important, the header of each of the different pages. Now, don't forget with a website, you've got header, body, footer. Just to tell you a little bit about it, because I do specialize in coding, and the header will give information to the browser before they put the page there. So it gets the browser ready for putting all the stuff there. The body is, of course, all the different things you have on the page, and then the footer is extra stuff there at the bottom as well. So if you're actually dealing with the coding, this code sits, now you might have heard of course, this is dealing with what's called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. Just to give you a little bit of history, I don't know if you've ever heard of the person who invented World Wide Web. He used HTML because it just made more sense, because they used to have books published and they used to put hypertext for markup for the publishers. So he named it Hypertext Markup Language. Now, always a page has got Hypertext Markup Language, which has got a lot of the different information there and everything. Other things like styles and everything is CSS and different ones. So you would go into the coding, and you would see, if you think of a square bracket, you put it at that angle, and you go like that. That's what it's called, a square bracket. So in the square bracket, you would see that it starts with head, and then it ends off with /head to finish the head. All right. And of course, it sits above everything else. Now, don't forget, if this is sounding too complicated, don't forget, you will have with WordPress, with Wix, with Squarespace, whatever you're using, you will Shopify, for example, there's always a plugin to help you. So you don't need to know any of the coding side. The most important thing is you've got to make sure that that code is put in the header of each of the different pages. Now, okay. Okay, and with Google Analytics version 3, we've got sessions. So sessions are when the period of time, is called a session. With Google Analytics 4, we talk about events, which is a kind of different terminology that we use, okay? Now, certainly when you're setting up Google Analytics version 4, there's something called GTag, standing for Google Tag. Now, GTag, you must make sure that you follow through on that as well. But don't forget, there is that free course, which Mohammed kindly gave you the link to, and you can do this to really help you, okay? All right, now, how to install the tracking code. So there is a tracking code, used to be a UA5, and then the number and everything. Now, of course, it is different because it's data streams and measurement ID, of course, which you get, and that's what, and you actually put in the header of every single page. Very, very important. And it needs to be installed on every page, which is so, so important. Now, don't forget, as I said before, just to not worry you too much, the WordPress, Wix, GoDaddy, whatever you're using, there is always some plugin to help you. And if it's WordPress, for example, either install the plugin, because there's different plugins you can use, or some themes or templates allow you to just enter in, the unique tracking ID. Okay, we're going to move away from that. You can't put in the true unique tracking ID. Now it's called measurement ID. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of different things here. So understanding the 4 main areas of reporting. Now, this is Google Analytics version 3, all right? So who are my users is audience. How do they find me? Acquisition. What do they do when they're actually on my site? Behavior. Now, this is where there's a difference with Google Analytics 4. It's no longer called behavior. Behavior is normally children in a class, for example, but this is kind of different. So now we call it engagement. So if you're looking for in Google Analytics version 4, it's engagement. That's what it's called in the report. And have they actually completed the goals I want to track? That is conversions. Now, in the Google Analytics version 4 version, it is actually down as monetization, which is more appropriate to what it's providing there. Okay, so there you've got the 4 areas. So it's audience, acquisition, behavior or engagement, and conversion or monetization. I mean, conversion we still use as a as a word and everything, even though we're using monetization. But just so you know. Now, of course, for conversions to actually work, or that is for monetization to work, goals have to be set up to track specific actions. Now, once you've, of course, mastered the basics, this is really worth doing. Now, I'll tell you a couple of reasons why it's useful doing. I mean, one of the things, of course, it gives you a lot of information on the monetization to see how well you're doing. So you will see it's, again, within admin, you can set up goals. It used to be a long time ago where every time you sold, but nowadays it's got much more sophisticated. Now, if a person downloads a PDF, if a person, whatever different function they're doing, you can track that and choose that as a goal. So, it doesn't have to be just around, money, businesses which are getting money from their website. It can be many other different things. So you can really, and one of the things as well, which is really useful as well, you will see that a certain number of people are bouncing, for example, and you can see information to do with this, that, and the other thing. But it's really nice to be able to track so that you have your conversions or your monetization of the goal, on the right. It'll add another column, and you can have the highest number at the top. And then you can sort of follow the success rate of those people who've actually followed through, bought and everything. You can have them right at the top. And that's really useful. So that's why I'd recommend more than anything setting up goals. And of course, for monetization to work, it does need some goals. Okay, so Google will then, of course, use that data and show you a series of different reports. And don't forget, with all of this, do you remember I showed you a bit of time ago, the dashboard? There's a little house top left. You can click on. That is what's called the dashboard. The point of that is giving you information that you can use and keep on referring to. If you're keeping referring to the whole, you don't want to keep snaking around exactly where it is and everything. You can put it onto the dashboard. The point is, you'll say, but there's stuff there already. Yes, but that was preset again by Google, so it's all there. You can take some things off, you can put some things on, whatever you like. That is your dashboard to play around with. And the idea is that you have it there constantly to help you. And the ideal thing as well, like a lot of these different tools, is the more regularly you use it, even if it's a shorter time, the consistency of going to that to get feedback, that can help you a lot. Okay. All right. So, okay, I'm going to look at what data here. I know we don't all agree on the pronunciation, but hell, I'm saying data in Google Analytics. So we've got here, the dimension is the what, okay? In this case, in green. And then, of course, the actual, so it could be, for example, so it could be dimension, so city, age, gender, for example. And then metric is a measure or count of something. For example, if we find ourselves asking a how many question, that is the blue metrics, as it were. Okay. So you've got the what and the numbers, just to help you on that side. Okay. Let's see how we're doing with time. We're doing all right. Not too bad. Ooh, I can see we've got some questions. Excellent. Excellent. Great. I'm looking forward to seeing those too. So, okay, we're going to now run through the REAN question. Remember the REAN questions? Reach, engage, activate, and nurture, particularly those areas we covered earlier in the session, and map this to where we can get the information in Google Analytics to find the answers. Now, I will only be dealing with Google Analytics version 3 in this talk, but don't forget there is a 45-minute talk, and we do cover most of those in the 45-minute talk. So remember that. Okay. So let's have a look at each of these different areas. So first of all, we've got reach. Okay. So how are people finding me online? Now, as the question, of course, is about, how people find us, you can start with the acquisition menu. So how are people getting to my website? It's a, Google Analytics standard reports using acquisitions, all traffic channels. So that's acquisitions, all traffic channels. You can see it here. Let me just put it across for you to just see it so you can see it a little bit closer. Google Analytics, acquisition, all traffic channels report. Do you see it there on the right-hand side? That's to help you. Okay. Now, organic search sends us the highest number of visitors, with referrals coming in second, because you can see there's a kind of like arrow down. You can choose to have the highest number at the top. And if you click on the link in blue, it will take you into the next level of data, so it can give you many different layers of data to help you. So that's where you'll find how people are actually finding you. Okay. And then, of course, if you click on the link in blue, as I said, it will take you to a deeper level of information. So for the organic search, we could see which terms we're actually being found with. So if we're doing a lot of posting on social media with the intention to drive traffic to the website, then, we can really track it arriving, from here. And referrals are other websites that send traffic our way. Now, we could all investigate them and see whether we can actually strengthen our relationship with them, for example. If there are, if there are some referral sites that aren't doing so well, how can we work together to drive more traffic? It's there to inform you and to help you as much as possible. And that's the point. You're getting that information, you're analyzing, you're working out and saying, okay, what can we do about this to improve the whole situation? All right. So, and that was with reach, of course. Now we're on to engage. So what are people engaging with when they find me online, which ironically with Google Analytics version 4, of course, engagement. So we've got over here, as this is about what people actually do on our website, find the answers to the behavior section. So this is the behavior, site content, all pages. And of course, as you know, Google Analytics 4 would be, you would look for it with engagement. Okay, I won't carry on further with that, but just engagement, that's where you'd be finding it. Now note the primary dimension is page. Here we are interested in the metric page views that is in the column next to the dimension page. All right, so I'll just show you this a little bit closer so you can see it a bit better. Now this report tells us which page users come across and navigate to when they are actually on their website, on our website. So we can tell from the metrics in the columns running left to right how engaged users are with the various pages. Okay, so now let's have a look at using all this information. So we go to behavior, site content, all pages. By learning which of our pages our visitors spend their time and which they leave quickly, you can understand what they actually like in order to create more interesting content. For example, if we have a video on a page and people hang around on that page for longer than it takes to play, then maybe they're finding it interesting. If they're reading all the text around it, if they all leave partway through, well, what is putting them off? So things like this. And if we get lots of traffic to a page but a high bounce rate, then we need to check if we're showing them what they actually want to see when they get there. Sorry. And we can also see if any of our processes need reviewing. Lots of big thing is, of course, abandoned baskets, might tell us there is a problem with the checkout, for example, or people spending a long time on the payment page. Maybe there's an issue with providing enough easy to use cards and everything. Okay. And then, of course, using Rayyan to ask the right questions. And then we've got activate. So activate, of course, is about getting people to take the action we want them to actually take. So it could be as easy to understand as a sale. Now, it doesn't always have to be with a sale. If you don't sell online, it could be ring us in order to book, downloading a white paper, or filing in the contact us form. It could be many different formats. So activate which channel is driving the most bookings. Okay, so here we've got, of course, acquisition, all traffic, and then channels. So again, we know information pertaining to where people actually found us. So check out the acquisition area. We looked at this report a little bit before, but this time we are focusing in on the conversion metrics in the far right corner. Let me just give you a chance to see that a little bit closer. Do you see there? And here we're talking about registrations and translating them into table bookings. And as I said before, of course, you need to have some of these goals set up to really help you with these things. Okay. Activate acquisition, all traffic, channels. Now, if you click into referral, you will actually see which sites are referring the most traffic. Are there any that have a high conversion rate? And for those that are driving volume and converting traffic, is there anything we can do to improve the relationship with that site? Is there anything we can collaborate on, or could we turn something into a partnership? And then for low quality traffic, lots of one-page sessions with a high bounce rate, perhaps, for the unusual looking website, when you check it out, should be filtering this out of our reports. If it's a bot or spider, it will be filtered out by the view setting that you can check to filter bots and spiders, which you can set up as well, which is useful. And then using Rayyan to ask the right questions. Nurture, of course, is about what happens after we've activated the relationship. Do they actually leave a review somewhere? Do they book again? Do they come back for more? So as well as monitoring reviews on sites like Google Business Profile, Facebook, to answer this question, you can collect and track post-purchase reviews on your own website. So this website has, set up the key points of their sales funnel as a series of goals, so they can track them in Google Analytics. Now, because you're looking at a goal, check out the conversion menu. This area is highly customizable, so it will be empty until you actually start creating those goals. Very important. And goals don't have to be e-commerce. This is a big thing. They can be anything that is a key action for you, downloading a PDF or whatever it might be, or signing up to different things. Okay. So nurture. So a couple of different things. Get genuine feedback from people we know have bought our products, and, stress, that. So the big thing here now, conversions are a bit more advanced, but well worth getting to grips with. You really can get genuine feedback, and it's quite important. We do talk about this in writing for social media. Response to all reviews, good and bad. So you are proactive towards the bad ones. And then try different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review, that works best. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm often going, yes, I'll leave a review, and then it never happens. So it's really important that you provide that. Okay, wonderful. We have now reached towards the end, but we've got some great questions. So let me have a look at these and see how I can assist. So Shabnum, we use Google Analytics for particular social media channel like YouTube, Instagram, etc. That's great. That's really great, Shabnum. One of the things as well is, of course, YouTube has got quite an advanced analytics system as well, because, of course, that's run as well by Google. So it's got quite advanced analytics, and you can get a lot of information from YouTube. And, of course, obviously with Instagram as well. And, of course, with your website, with people going to your website from places like Instagram, like from YouTube, That's fabulous. So you're getting more and more information. It's just making sure that you're getting information and you're using what is the most important. Thank you, Shabnum. Baho, I hope I'm pronouncing this one. We have to put the tracking code on. Yes, you have to put the tracking code on every single page on the website. No, it must be for every single page. You must have the tracking code. Now, don't forget, nowadays with Google Analytics version 4, it's not tracking code, it's measurement ID. Before it used to be tracking ID, now it's measurement ID. That's if you're setting it up now. If you set it up before and you were with Google Analytics version 3, yes, make sure you've got it on the header of each of the pages. Now, don't forget, as well, with all the different kinds of builders for your websites, there are always a lot of different plugins you can use, which are nice and easy to use. Okay. Okay, Maximuskin. Maximus. So that's easier. Maximus, can you show us an example where you would put this? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to when you say this. This. Let me just see now if I can see. Help me out here, Mohammed. What is Maximus referring? Can you show us an example where you would put this? Okay. So that's the wash. Okay. So how data? Okay. Let me come back to Maximus because I've got another one here from Dewash. How data was fed to Google Analytics. Okay. Yes, sorry. Do we have to put the tracking code? Yes, every single page. How data was fed to Google Analytics. Yes, well, with Dewash, it's all, once you put that tracking, well, I mean, I know it's no longer tracking ID. It's now called measurement ID in every single header of every single page. That's how Google gets the information, because of course it's using that coding to work out which website it is and everything, getting the information, and then giving it to you all in Google Analytics. Now, how that actually information is got is a very long story, though, because of course, obviously, it's very highly complicated coding. But I hope that helps you a little bit. Okay, I'm leaving that with Maximus at the moment. Mohammed and I have both asked for just a little bit more elaboration. I'd be fascinated to know where, the particular question there. Hopefully we'll hear from Maximus soon. But any further questions, do fire away, because obviously it is a complicated area, and I'm not trying to sort of introduce you to a very confusing. No, the whole point is we're here to help and assist. And don't forget, of course, it's Google Analytics Academy to help you, whether it's Google Analytics Academy or the link at the top for taking you to Google Analytics version 4. Don't forget as well that you can watch this this live presentation up to 24 hours after I finished. Just use the same URL, same address and everything. Just you can go back. Don't go back yet, because you'll miss out on the live chat and everything we have now. But it's just useful. You can, so long as everything working technologically well, you can go back if there's anything you missed or anything you want to go over to help you. All right. Okay, Dewash, you're asking about keywords to increase your business reach in your business. Now, what I recommend with that, Dewash, is if you set yourself up with Google Ads. Now, don't forget, you don't have to be having a campaign to set it up. The only annoying thing when you do set up Google Ads, if you haven't set it up before, often it seems to be pushing you directly into a campaign. Now, I have done this with a mentee. She set herself up and then she immediately canceled, so she didn't lose anything, because often people want time to think about these different things. But one of the things there are some things on those first pages. You can click on a link to cancel that start one, but if you don't see it, go through it, cancel it, and then you're there. Now, one of the till you're ready for launching a full campaign. Now, one of the things you'll have top right, there will be settings. Now, if it only says settings, click on settings and go into expert mode. If it says tools and settings, you're there already. Click on it, and the tools, one of the tools is in the left column, you'll see is Keyword Planner. Now, of course, as Google is the most used search engine, it should be able to help you with keywords. Another thing you can use to watch as well is Google Trends. Google Trends shows you over time when people will be searching for these different things and different keywords and everything. So I hope that helps you a little bit, Dewash. And there's another one called Exploding Topics, which are very, very popular topics. So you can see, but of course, they've got to match what you provide as well. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for all these questions. It's been absolutely fabulous. I've just got 1 minute, so I better move on. So what are your next steps? No doubt I've given you many next steps. So don't forget, you can go over this talk at any point and everything up to 24 hours after this talk. And if you've lost it because you're so busy, no doubt with your businesses, you can always book for another session. It's totally free. So, and if you want to know more about Google Analytics version 4, the 45 minutes, we're more informing about Google Analytics 4 than Google Analytics version 3. Okay, so a lot of takeaway, just do it step by step, get to know the tool. That's a big thing, and work on it. Now, just to remind you again, there's one-to-one mentoring. This, I'm afraid, is only for the UK at present. Hopefully, we eventually will be expanding this, but at present, it's only in the UK. Thank you very much. I was giving the link again there to help you. All right. So everyone, thank you for all your questions. Been great, absolutely fabulous. We're going to wrap up here. Excuse me, as we're out of time. I hope that has been a useful dive into answering questions with data, with Google Analytics. As I mentioned at the beginning of the session, if you are interested in more training from Google Digital Garage, there are a few ways you can continue learning. We are running many more Google Digital Garage webinars in different subjects. If you'd like to check out the schedule of webinars, please see information on this in the description. Excuse me, below. There will be different topics, available to watch, and we'll be updating the schedule regularly. Also, if you would like to carry on learning online in your own time, check out the Google Digital Garage website for more online training courses, which are available to you 24/7. I recommend particularly Fundamentals of Digital Marketing, about 20 hours long, but they're not one sitting, of course. And it's a great opportunity to learn a lot of different things, all the different areas of marketing. So finally, if you have any feedback or questions on today's session, please provide it now. If you would like to go even further, there's an email address, team@thedigitalgarage.co.uk, which is also at the bottom of the description below. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mohammed. It's been fabulous. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. We look forward to welcoming you again to another Google Digital Garage training session soon. Thank you.